Okay, we're still working with baby Hicks. It's now 2 p.m. So he has been on CPAP now of 5 centimeters of water pressure with 40% FiO2 for about 6 hours. Your current assessment finds that he has retractions and is grunting. He has breath sounds that are coarse throughout. His chest x-ray reveals ground glass appearance. His respiratory rate is 52. His heart rate is 170. His ABG is 7.34, 47, 50, 21 with an SpO2 of 92%. So go ahead and consider this for a few seconds, and what do you think we need to do at this point? What other care issues should be addressed, if any? And aside from our managing the ventilation, is there anything else we should be worried about to help out with the overall care? Okay, some things you should have picked up on were that his CO2 is starting to creep up on CPAP, so that means he's not moving enough air to maintain his ventilation. His PaO2 has come down slightly. I believe he started on 58 and now he's down to 50. So he's starting to fail his oxygenation status. So for this neonate, we selected a pressure control mode in SIMV. Remember, we want to promote spontaneous breathing and support it. These are not like adults where we want to give the lungs and the respiratory muscles a break and let them rest because they're fatigued. This is a new life that we want to start breathing on its own effectively. So we want to support any spontaneous breaths and encourage it to do more of that. PIP, we want to start as low as possible, so 18 is a good starting point. PEEP of 5. PEEP, remember, is for oxygenation, and since we have been on a CPAP of 5, it's a good starting point with going into conventional mechanical ventilation. Our FiO2, we're increasing it to 45%. I want you to think about that one a little bit before we talk about the reasoning. So we'll do that here in a few minutes. Respiratory rate of 35 and an I time of 0.5 seconds. And again, think about the I time and how we calculate that before we go on. Okay, some considerations for this case that I think if you take a look at these, you will understand why those settings were chose if those weren't the ones you chose off the top of your head. But things you need to look at is, first of all, is there an oxygenation problem? And we identified it's not a major problem, but it's trending in the wrong direction. Is there a ventilation problem? And we identified yes, and again, it's trending in the wrong direction. It isn't horrible, but it's trending in that direction. So yes, we have 2 problems. So what's going to solve both problems is go ahead and putting them on conventional ventilation. Again, I asked you to consider, why did we go up to 45% with the FiO2 instead of leaving at 40%? Typically our rule of thumb as respiratory therapists is when we change modes, we always start with the same FiO2. So little things to be thinking about before you go on to the next slide here. Other things is, why did we choose pressure control mode? Why do we choose SIMV? Why did we select that PIP? Why that respiratory rate? And then why that I time? So once you think you have answers to these questions, maybe jot them down, then go to the next slide to see the discussion topics on that.